Who destroyed Buddhism outside India?
Yeah, well, before looking at what happened to Buddhism in India, it's of course instructive what happened to Buddhism first in Central Asia. And so there, Buddhism was quite effectively destroyed. That counts for instance, Tunhuang, where the Tocharians left a lot of legacy in terms of Buddhist scriptures, Buddhist translations, also some original Buddhist writings. So that Tocharian population has been absorbed into what are now the Uyghurs, who are Muslims. But far to the west in Uzbekistan, you also have plenty of Buddhism. Buddhism was clearly the most conspicuous religion at the time, like Tashkent is from Takshakhanda. And so you do see, in fact, a little bit of remnant of this Buddhism within Islam, namely in Sufism. You see, when you look at the theology in Sufism, you find notions like the fana, which means the annihilation. And so that's the goal of meditation. And that is like a calque on the Buddhist notion of nirvana, of this blowing out, this emptiness, this shunya. So there was a period of transition where enough of Buddhism was still alive to influence some interested Islamic thinkers. But at any rate, the result is that within a few generations, Buddhism had disappeared completely. So you must have heard about the Bamiyan Buddhas in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is more or less the cradle of not of Buddhism itself, but of expansive Buddhism, of global Buddhism. Because it's from there also that Buddhist monks went to China and that Buddhism became big in China and Japan. It's also there that probably the Buddha statue originates. And I know that this is a contentious point. I know that there are Indians who maintain that that this owed nothing to outsiders, at least on the face of it. And I'm not an art historian, but on the face of it, it looks credible. This is a Greek invention, because the Greeks had their Indo-Greek kingdoms in Afghanistan, and so it is rather clear that it is outsiders, that is foreigners who took mostly to this Buddhism. This is counts for the Greeks, for the Tocharians or Kushanas, some of the Scythians. And so the Buddha statue looks like a Greek statue. Like often the Buddha is depicted with curly hair, which is not Indian. It's a typical Mediterranean characteristic. So it's like the Apollo statue. It's a counterpart to the Apollo statue, the Buddha statue. And so you have the Bamiyan Buddhas there. And so there you starts the habit of giant Buddha statues, like you find many in China and Japan. So the Bamiyan Buddhas were already thought to be destroyed in the Middle Ages, but they were so big and the technology wasn't up there yet. So finally in 2001, the Taliban had finally fulfilled this ancient wish of the Islamic invaders. But so in Central Asia, of course, the Brahmins weren't there to destroy Buddhism, so somebody else's jihad was needed.